Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shilpi Khandelwal, Professor Jagannath University, Jaipur, and today I am going to discuss about how to write and publish a paper in a good research journal. So we will cover the topic in length, and the learner of these sessions would be able to understanding the steps in writing a research paper, identifying the types of manuscripts for publications, identifying the key elements for publication in high impact journals, and identifying the right journals for publications. So we'll discuss all these things in length in the time to come. And writing and publishing a research paper is important for an academician, researcher, scientist, and publishing the article in a reputed and high impact factor journal may fetch you a good scholarship, fundings to carry out research and development activities and projects, and makes your profile strong. So this session will help you in writing an effective research paper in length. So we will discuss all the things one by one. So let us start the session. These are the learning outcomes of the sessions which I have discussed here, that understanding, identifying the types of manuscripts, identifying the key elements for publication in high impact journals, and identifying the right journals for publication. So the big question which arises here is how to write a research paper, means how you are going to write a research paper. So basically we'll start our session with this. So the first step is to select your target journal before you start writing your article. Now, it could be easy to shape your manuscripts according to the journal's requirements, which would increase the chance of accepting your manuscript. After choosing your targeted journal, start reading the research papers relevant to your work, now which are already published in that journal. Now, this can help you to get an idea of the editor's expectations and guide you in the writing. Use clear and simple language which helps the reader to read and understand easily. Ensure that your present research work is unique and novel from already published works, though your concept is existing. Write your article with full confidence to give your reader certainty in your work. Relate your research work, key work areas which is reported already, and show how you are working to eliminate the research gap. Plan a logical sequence of the manuscript and develop the idea in full sanctity and precisely. So the structure of the research paper is as important as the content itself and helps the reader to get a clear understanding of your work. So the format of a research paper I will discuss here, how an ideal format of a research paper should be. So a good research format consists of first, title. So title of a manuscript should indicate the theme of the research work. It should be clear, specific, and attractive to the readers to read that article. So you should have very clear and precise and very specific title for your research work. Secondly, the abstract. Now, in addition to the title that grabs the reader's attention, a well-written abstract is important. The abstract is what researchers, scientists read first to identify whether the article is worth reading or not. So, abstract should be very, very attention driven and well written. It is important to understand that, or it is suggested to rewrite the abstract after finishing the entire manuscript. Superfluous sentences and irrelevant statements should be eliminated. The author must highlight the novelty of the work in the abstract, and the abstract should be focusing on the points like what was investigated in the study, means state briefly the specific objectives of the study, why was it done, how was it done, and what are the important findings of the study. What is the significance of the study should also be mentioned. So the abstract can also be represented in some types of research papers in a graphical format. So some journals may accept the submission of a graphical abstract too. You have to see the journal guidelines first before submitting the abstract. Now, third thing which is important in a research paper is keywords. The keywords should be relevant to the work and it should be easy for the readers to search for the manuscript. 5 to 7 keywords are normally accepted for a research paper. So you should have those words as your keywords which are very relevant and which are related to your study. Next thing which a research paper format comes is introduction. Now introduction should clearly address the significance and the impact of the manuscripts. The research on a particular area may be intensively published so that it describes the novelty and the significance of the research area in the current times. Also, it should have a clear point regarding the advancement or improvement and a motivation to carry out the research work. Discuss the literature pertaining to the work, identifying the research gaps, and the literature review should take into consideration the current state of the literature. Frame the objectives of the study clearly based on the research gap. Also, it is suggested to write the introduction and conclusion last once the skeleton of the manuscripts becomes clear, so that you are very clear to connect the story from the starting to the end. So it would look like a wholesome approach to a particular research area. So it is better, or it is suggested at some point of time, that you should write your first initially what you actually are going to do on your research paper, and then write the abstract and the introduction of the research paper. Next is methodology. The methodology should elaborate on how the research study was conducted. It includes experimental procedures or the steps followed, the preparation methods, instrumentation methods if you have used, and the formulas. So you should include all these things in your methodology. Also, the reader should get a clear vision on how the research study was carried out by reading the method section. So you should understand what is exactly comes under this methodology section. Next section in a research paper is about results and discussion. So it is very obvious that the readers are very much interested into this part of the research paper, because they want to know what is the exact outcome of your research. So result and discussion section of any manuscript are discussed in detail. Whatever the research findings you are getting from your research study, so it should be indicated in detail in the result and discussion section, and the discussion need to be beyond the findings and emphasize more on the claims. The interpretation of the experimental results should be explained scientifically and logically in line with fundamental science and principles. To support the findings, the result can be expressed in any format like plots, models, or any fond of expressions. The results reported in your manuscript should be original, reliable, and reproducible. So you should consider these points while you are writing your results and discussion section, because if they are not original, or they are not reliable, or they are not reproducible, then there are very less stakeholders for your research. Then the results obtained in the present study may also be compared with the results reported in the literature. The next section which comes in a research paper is of conclusion, and it includes the summary of the research findings and the overall impression of the study. A good conclusion will complete the article's arguments, research outcome, and further scope of studies. It should be strong enough to convince the researchers. So you should be very, very precise and very, very specific while writing your conclusion. The last part of a research paper is references. References means citing references in the appropriate places in the paper is necessary and important to avoid any kind of plagiarism which may come in your research. So when you cite a reference, make sure that you understand its relevance in your research work first. Second, the references should be listed at the end of the manuscript, and each journal has its own referencing style. So you should have follow the journal's referencing style while citing your references in the research paper. also, if you want to give you any kind of acknowledgement, or if you want to feel gratitude towards the people who have contributed to your research paper, then you can write an acknowledgement section too, where the authors can submit a brief acknowledgement of any financial or the instrumentation or academic support received pertaining to your research work. So this is an ideal research paper format which you may follow, although you have to follow the general guidelines first and then see what kind of sequencing they are required. So basically you have to follow that, but in that case also, more or less, if you see in all the journals, these all the sections are a necessary and the important part in the submitting a research paper. So the strongest research papers generally have one or two strong points to make. The authors registered those points powerfully with results and suitable evidence. So you need to focus on this, and the scientific journals published which publish different kind of manuscript based on the scope and the requirement of the research articles in the journal. Besides, the articles published by the journals are among the different types of original research articles, or it may have the review article format, or it may have a short reports or letter format. Case study format may also be there, and the methodologies format can be there. So let us discuss what are the different kind of formats available for the submission of a manuscript. But first, let us understand what is a manuscript. So what is a manuscript? A manuscript is a research work that a researcher writes and submits to journal publications. So manuscripts are reviewed by peer-reviewed journals or assigned by journal editors to maintain the quality of the journals or quality of the publications. Consequently, the published manuscript will help other researchers in the field to understand the research methodologies, experiments, and results of the work. So this is what is called as manuscript in a research paper. Now, if I've told you that there are different kind of formats, or there are different kind of manuscripts required by different kind of journals. So let us understand what are the different kind of manuscripts which are required by different kind of journals. So first type of manuscript which you may often see or often come across is a kind of a research paper. Now this is the most common type of journal manuscript, and it may be called an original article, research article, or just an article depending on the type of journal. Now the original research format is suitable for many different fields and different type of studies. It includes the full introduction, method, results and discussion sections, and the review articles provide a comprehensive summary of the research on a certain topic and a perspective on the state of the field and where it is heading. They are often written by leaders in a particular discipline after an invitation from the editor of a journal. So there are two things. One is the research paper or article, and another is a review article. So review research articles are often widely read and cited, and these articles are read by researchers looking for a full introduction to a field. So reviews commonly cite approximately previous 100 research articles which are published in the past, and the review article provides an overview of a particular topic and summarizes all the existing researches. Now it includes an introduction, literature review, conclusion and references section. So a research paper is typically what I have told you before, what could be an ideal research paper format. So a research paper typically is in that format, and a review article consists of introduction, literature review, because it is review based. So it includes more of the literature reviews, conclusions and references. Then there is a research article versus review paper. Now a research article is a primary source of information that reports on the findings of an original study. It typically includes an introduction, method, results and discussion sections. The purpose of the research article is to communicate the findings to the other researchers and the general public. A review paper on the other hand, is a secondary source of information that summarizes and synthesizes the findings of other research articles. It typically includes an introduction, literature review, discussion, and conclusion sections. The purpose of a review paper is to provide an overview of the current state of knowledge on a particular topic and to identify the future areas for the research. So basically this is the difference between a research paper and review articles. Then there are short communications. So basically a short communication articles are papers that communicate brief reports of data from original research. So subsequently, editors believe this article will be interesting to many researchers because it is a gist or a brief report of the full study. So the submitted articles likely stimulates further research in that area or in that field. So as they are relatively short, the format is useful for scientists with results that are time sensitive. For example, those who are in highly competitive or quickly changing disciplines. The short communication format often has strict length limits basically. So therefore some experimental details may not be published until the author writes a full original research manuscript. Also, this type of article is sometimes called a brief communication or a brief report. Then there are case studies. So case study is basically instances of an interesting phenomena. So a goal of case study is to make other researchers aware of the possibility that a specific phenomena might occur. Also, this type of study is often used in medicine to report the occurrence of the previously unknown or emerging symptoms. A case report is a single case study in detail and it includes an introduction, case description, discussion and references section. Then there are methods paper. So basically these type of manuscripts present a new experimental method, test or procedure, and the method described may either be completely new or may offer a better version of an existing method. The article should describe a demonstrable advance in what is currently available. Other type of research articles can be of the systematic review. Now, systematic review is evaluates existing research on a particular topic and provides a synthesis of the findings. So it includes an introduction, method, results, discussion and references section. And there is one more thing called as meta-analysis. So this type of article is basically combines the results of the multiple studies to draw conclusion about a particular topic. Now it includes an introduction, methods, results, discussion and references section. So basically these are the different kind of manuscripts which you may submit to different kind of journals. So these are the different manuscripts, and if you see in whatever I have discussed in all these manuscripts, the common format more or less is what I have discussed before. That is, you need to have some points to be kept in mind while writing a research paper. So basically all those points are covered in these kind of manuscripts. In some manuscript they are used, all the points have been used, and in some manuscripts some of the points are more focused upon than the other points. Then the question arises ki, what you called as a best research article. Now the best research article, as such there is no particular definition, or there is no particular what we can say, if the particular fashion in which we can say that it is the best research article. But then also if we look or if we perceive what is a best research article, then it is subjective and it depends on the reader's interest and needs. Now some of the most highly regarded research articles are those that have been published in normally a peer-reviewed journals. Now as these journals are evaluated by experts in the field, and we say that the peer-reviewed journal articles are generally of higher research quality. So basically, you need first thing you have to keep in mind whenever you are going to publish a research article, you have to see that the journal is a peer-reviewed journal. So that gives you an idea what exactly the people in your community are thinking about that topic which you have discussed as in your research paper. So it gives you a complete idea of that. Now the question arises, once you have written your research paper or article or any kind of manuscript which you have taken, how to get it published in a high impact journal. Everybody wants that it should get published in a high impact journal. So how to publish a research paper or a research article or any kind of manuscript in a high impact journal, and that too for free. So basically, getting your research article published in a high impact journal will give you a boost to your academic life and the future career. Writing for an identified high impact journal is not that simple. So it requires good technical communication, writing skill, and to easily explain your research findings to the journal reviewers and editors. So let us discuss some of the important points how to get your research paper or the manuscript published in a high impact journal. So editors at the top journals seek exceptional qualities in the manuscript with novelty and conceptual advancement. Also, the work must provide a significant step forward for the field and provide a new direction. So let us understand what things you have to keep in mind to get it published in a high impact journal. The first thing you have to keep in mind is know your audience. Means you can't force everyone or you can't force anyone to read whatever you write. So, and if you do not pitch your paper appropriately, you can reduce its potential impact. So the readers for a specific research paper is specialized, but you should never assume too much knowledge on the reader's part. This is particularly important in a high impact journal, as one of the acceptance criteria is that is the research is having a broad relevance or not. Means you can have a broad spectrum of readers for that particular research paper or not. So while your readers will likely to be scientists or any person who is from academics, you have to see that they will not be the experts in the area in which you have published your research paper. So you have to write the research paper considering what exactly your audience want in that research paper and what exactly audience are seeking in that research paper. So considering that, you have to write. So how you can improve your communication, I have told you about that. It need to be communicated in a very precise and a very simple manner. So it should be that whatever you have written in your research paper, read every sentence you have written from a reader's point of view, not from a writer's point of view, but from a reader's point of view. You have to come on the other side of the table. Then assume that readers is a layman and write as easy as that makes your reader understand your idea very clearly, right? Always ask what, why, and how for each of the sentences you are writing in your research paper, and ensure your paper not giving any kind of confusion or ambiguity in the reader's mind in any kind of dimension. So you have to see these things before submitting it to a high impact journal. Second thing, imagine your research as telling a story. So everybody loves a story. If we see our forefathers or our Rishi Munis, whatever the knowledge they have passed on to us, it is in the form of these stories. If you go through Bhagavad Gita, if you go through Bhagavad Puran, Vishnu Puran, or any kind of Shiv Puran, you see there are multiple stories. And if you all can relate that when we are children, so our parents or our teachers used to inculcate moral values or ethical values in us by telling us the stories mentioned in Panchatantra or Jatak Kathaएं. So these stories are things which makes you relatable and which makes you understand very faster and in very quicker manner, right? And it always the reader or the person can always have that story in the mind, right? So you have to Imagine your research as telling a story. High impact research papers need strong evidence and noteworthy conclusions. So, start by asking a research question and form a logical argument. Look to fill as many gaps in your story as possible. Great research builds up a whole picture of a system. A good research article is a clear and compelling story that to be written with a chosen scientific publication in mind. So you have to create a story around your research work. What are the tips you can do here for the better flow? Avoid overly technical or any kind of specialized jargons. Don't use unnecessarily jargons in your research paper. It doesn't go good with the readers actually. Second, ensure the flow of the reading from sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph, and chapter to chapter. It should be in a very effortless flow, free flowing manner. Unnecessary punctuation can impede the flow, and explaining the steps involved in the scientific solutions methodology will improve the flow of the reading. Repetition of ideas or information. You are repeating one line again and again, one kind of idea again and again, quoting one kind of reference again and again. It can impede the flow and it can disrupt the reader from reading that article. So don't do that. Third thing you need to keep in mind while you are going for a good journal is a strong title to get a paper published in a high impact journal. So the paper's title should be informative, telling the reader what the finding was. It should be clear and concise so that the readers can know what the paper is about. Don't underestimate the importance of a good title and abstract. These short blocks of text, often the final consideration when constructing a paper, will receive far more views than the paper itself. So they should be used as a hook to pull the readers and editors in. Don't use specialized jargons, especially in the title and abstract, to publish journals in high impact factor journals. So basically avoid any kind of special jargons or technical language in your title. Next is the clear abstract. See, the abstract is the second most important section of a research paper because it gives or it briefly introduces the topic, the problem statement the paper is trying to address, and summarize the main findings, and then gives a perspective on possible benefits and utilities of these findings. So you should have a very clear, precise, specific abstract. And how you can write a clear abstract? So there are some things which you can follow. Is first, the first few lines of the abstract should provide a basic information to the field. Means the first 2-3 lines should always be about the area or the topic which you are going to study in your research paper, followed by background on the questions or the problems within the field. Secondly, it should address a specific research question. So what exactly is the question for which answer you are looking for in that your research? So what is exactly your research question should be mentioned clearly in the abstract. Thirdly, the abstract should end with a conclusion or an answer to the question addressed, and followed by an elaboration on the broader implication or the impact of the finding. So in the results section of the abstract, some details on the methods should be provided, but authors should always seek to achieve a balance between too much and too little information. See, you have to give a brief or a gist. It should not be too much that the readers are not encouraged to read your research article fully, and it should not be too little that the readers are not getting an idea what exactly is your research article about, and they are not encouraged to study the whole article. So it should not be too much or it should not be too little. The length should be kept adequate and appropriate to fulfill the purpose that the reader should be encouraged to read the full research article in detail. Next thing which you can do in your research paper to highlight your paper is make good use of figures and tables. So figures basically visually attracts the reader. So figures visually represent your findings, and they must be in a logical order and corresponding to your story which you have created. figures and tables are often the quickest way to communicate large amount of the complex information that would be complicated to explain in text. It can be easily communicated with the help of the tables and the figures. High quality display items gives your work a professional experience. Readers will assume that a professional looking manuscript contains good quality science. Thus, readers may be more likely to trust your results and your interpretation of those results. So you have to make use of the tables and figures adequately and in a proper manner. If what you can do, you can use figures in the form of how you images, data plots, maps, schematics. All these figures need to have clear and concise logical manner, and these figures need to have a clear and concise legend caption to accompany them, so that the readers can understand what is the figure or what is the thing you are showing in the that particular figure. Then you can make use of images. That images help readers visualize the information you are trying to convey, and often it is difficult to be sufficiently descriptive using words. So images also helps you in achieving the accuracy which is needed in a manuscript. How you, the images can be can include scale bars, labeling important items, and indicate the meaning of the different colors and symbols which you have used in the image. Then you should have indicated in the image that what that color or what that symbols mean in that image. Then you can use data plots as a figure. Now data plots means they convey a large kind of quantity of data in a very simple and quick manner. The goal is often to show a functional or statistical relationship between two or more items. However, details about the individual data points are often omitted to place emphasis on the relationship that is shown by the collection of points. Tips for data plots: be sure can be label all the axes, x-axis, y-axis, whatever the axis you have used, label them. Specify unit for quantities. Label all the curves and the data sets, and use a legible font size. Then another kind of figure which you can use is kind of maps. Now maps are important for putting field words in the context of the location where it was performed. So a good map will help your reader understand how the site affects your study. Moreover, it will also help researchers reproduce your work or find other location with similar kind of properties. So maps can be include latitude and longitudes, scale bars. Having scale bars, it may include scale bars. It may including labeling of the important items, and also the map legend. Then there another kind of figures which you may use is schematic. So basically a schematic is helps to identify the key parts to a system or a process. They should highlight only the key elements, because adding unimportant items may clutter the image. A schematic only includes the drawings the author chooses, offering a degree of flexibility not offered by images. They can also be used in situations where it is difficult or impossible to capture an image. So you can do in a schematic? Again, you can label the key items and provide complementary explanation in the caption and the main text. Then another thing which you can use is the tables. Now tables are the concise and the effective manner or way to present a large amount of data in a very concise manner. Now you should design them carefully so that you can clearly communicate your results to busy researchers. How you can design a table? You should have a clear and concise legend or a caption. Data should be divided into categories for clarity. Units should be provided, the data unit should be provided. Font type and size should be legible. It should be readable or legible for the reader to understand. Selecting the right journal to submit the scholarly manuscript is a really difficult task. If you have chosen the wrong journal or the predatory journal, you will lose your lovely time and effort of the study. Also, it will also create frustration. So basically you have to think about it that you are whenever you are going to submit your research paper or a manuscript to any kind of journal, check that it is not a predatory journal. Submitting a manuscript into a unsuitable journal is a common mistake that researchers make, and it may be regretful for the researchers to get it published in that journal also. If you submit your article in an unsuitable journal to your research area, the journal editors also will reject the manuscript before the peer review process only, because if it is not suitable for that journal, then they will reject it. So finding the right journals makes it more likely that your manuscript will be accepted. So find out first what is your research area about, and what are the journals who are publishing in that particular research area. Now the next question arises is how to select a right journal to publish your research paper. So how to select? First thing you can do is use a journal finder. Most of the leading publishers provide a free tool called Journal Finder, and which helps to identify the right or the suitable journal for the research area with relevant keywords to publish the manuscript. Some of the journal finding tools can be like IEEE Publication Recommender, Wiley Journal Finder, Elsewhere Journal Finder, then Springer Nature Journal Suggester, Edna's Journal Selector, Cofactor Journal Selector. So these are some of the journal finders which you may use to find out the right or the correct suitable journal for your research paper or the manuscript. Then what type of article is accepted by the journal. Then second thing you need to look is what kind of article is exactly that journal is looking for. So before going to submit your manuscript, verify the types of article accepted by the journal. They are accepting review based article, they are accepting a case study based article, they are accepting a experimental research study based article or a theorem based article. You need to first understand what kind of article they are actually encouraging to get it published in their research journals. Ensuring the journal publications policy will also reduce more time by selecting the right journal. Then second thing you can do is get expert recommendations. So getting a view about the journal from a senior scholars, professors, scientists is a good idea to select the journal. If they already published their articles in that journal, then they would have enough knowledge about that journal basically area or expertise in which they are going to publish, or they are also in a better place to guide you that what are the general procedures they should follow to get it published there, right? So you should have or you should look for getting some expert recommendations. Another thing you can do is analysis of the journal metrics, means it is called as analysis of the journal impact factor, is one of the measure of its reputation, but not always the most important. So you should consider the prestige of the authors that publish in the journal and whether your research paper or research manuscript is of similar level or not. The question arises, you must have something in your mind that what is an impact factor. So impact factor calculation is based on a 2-year period and involves dividing the number of times the articles were cited by the number of articles that are citable. So it is called as impact factor of that journal. So then next is checking the frequency of the publication, means the different journal has a different timeline of the review process. Always verify the frequency of the publication, whether it is monthly, quarterly, twice yearly, whatever, before submitting your manuscript. Also publish articles in the literature. You analyze that what are the articles or the published articles in your field that are similar in scope and impact on the field, and see how they were published. It is an easy way of selecting the journal by checking your literature review papers publications. always select 2 or 3 choices of a suitable journal for your from your research area, and if your paper is rejected from your first choice journal, you can quickly submit it to the other second choice journal. So how you can there's something which I can tell you how to choose that journal. First, read or download the guide, for author guidelines. First, read that. Second thing, verify the topics or the general topics that matches with your research area. Third, check if the journal is a invitation only based journal, or it is the journal which is accepting the articles or the manuscripts round the year. So you need to check it also, right? Submit your paper to only one journal at a time, है ना? Read the aims and scope of the journal. If you need to publish open access, know that most of the elsewhere journals have open access options to explain on the journal homepage. So you need to understand if it is an open access or not. So if you are getting it published in open access, then look for that guidelines ki what they are doing. Check the journal performance for the review and publication timelines. Hope that this will help you in getting your manuscript or the research paper getting published in a right kind of journal. So there are a lot of fake journals that have seemingly reliable websites and claim themselves to have a very high impact factor journals. Now, fake journals are difficult to identify in most of the cases. So in order to help researchers to find fake journals, we can have some common identifications or required verification before submitting your valuable research finding to a journal. Now, how to identify a fake journal? Let me tell you how to, because it is very much, it is as important to understand that you are not being predatory to publish in a fake journal, and you are thinking that you are publishing in a very high impact factor journal. So it may ruin all your efforts, or it may ruin all your time, or the whole hard work getting unnoticed. So you have to always check first that whatever the journal you are choosing for your research paper, it is not a fake journal. So how you can identify a fake journal? First thing you need to check the publisher. The first step is to check the publisher of the journal. Now, a publishing company, a professional association, a scholarship association, or a university, who is it? Reputable publishers will never publish a fake journal. First thing. Second thing you can check when you are going to submit your manuscript is verify editor or the reviewers of the journal. Verifying the editor-in-chief, who is the editor-in-chief, senior editors, reviewers of the journals is the best way to identify the fake journals. Reputable journals always list their editorial board members, and each of the editorial board members can be easily tracked to their home university. So if you cannot track who are the editorial members, it is likely that the journal is fake. Third thing, look for the number of volumes published till date. So a good volume of publications with high impactful research article ensures that the journal is not fake. Next is to look forward is the review process. So fake journals often guarantee someone's work to be published soon with a quick review process. Now, in most of the cases, the quick review processed journals are either fake or highly paid journals. They usually publish without any revisions. So it will lead to retraction of the whole journal from indexing in the future. So good journals must have adequate review process. The process may take time from 4 to 6 months, and the premier journals may even take longer time, sometimes a year or so, to get it published in a reputed journal. So you find, just check how much time it is getting to get your paper published in that journal. So if it is doing it very quick and it is asking for money too, that means it is a fake journal, because it is not going for any kind of review process. Then verify indexing, where it is indexed. So finally, verify whether the journal is on basically today indexed in a good indexing or not. So in today's context, if we say, you should look for it is Scopus indexed or Web of Science indexed or Schemago database. if it is or UGC Q listed, right? So you need to find it out where it is indexed. Most of the reputed and the mainstream journals indexed in any of these databases. So another top indexing agencies can be Thomson Reuters, like for zoological records, PubMed for medical science research, then ISI Web of Knowledge or Web of Science, then we have Scopus Index, ResearchGate, academia.edu, Google Scholar, Directory of Science, Scientific Indexing Services. So these are some of the indexing services. You should see whether it is indexed in these or not. However, it does not mean that journals who are not included in those databases, but if the journal is not indexed as well as not satisfy any of the above 4 verification steps, that particular journal is suspected to be a fake journal. So I hope now you can easily identify how to check or how to find or how to identify a fake journal, which may help you to find a genuine high quality publication for your valuable research contribution. So there are some common indicators too which will help you that to identify fake journals. Like your common indicators may include that no address, means some journals do not reveal their addresses or any kind of contact information on their website other than an email address. That means there is something fishy about it. Second thing is no proper review information. These journals mostly hide their review process and the editorial board details of their journal publications. Third thing, publication. Now these journals promise rapid publication. So whosoever is offering you very rapid or very quick publication in a day or in 10 days or in 15 days should be very alert that it may be a fake journal. Then topics. These publications simply include topics, a wide range of topics, means any topic. You may see in their publication list that there are the articles which are totally unrelated to each other are published by them. That means a broad spectrum of topics they have chosen to get it published in their research journals. So you should see a high quality or high impact factor journal normally have the related research publications in their journals. Then age of the website. See how what are the how when the website has been made and when it has been basically got it done or available for the readers or the authors to publish. So there are many tools in today's era which may help you to find out the age of the journal's website. Most of the fake journals claim themselves more year impact factor than their actual age on the internet. Then peer review process. There is no mention or there is no specific peer review process on the website or the submission requirements. That means they are not following any kind of peer review process for the publications. And another thing which may alarm you is the fees. They are asking for some kind of fees to get it published in their journals. So some predatory journals generally have extremely high publication or processing fees for the publications. And last is ethics. Fake journals do not consider any kind of research ethics. So see whether they are going for any kind of non-plagiarized content or not. Whether they are accepting the research paper or articles as it is without any kind of what we can say review or without any kind of changes in the original research article. That means there is something fishy or wrong about them. So this is all about the whole process. Thank you for listening to me for such a long time, and I hope this FDP will help you to become a very good researcher and to get things things on track in your research area or research field. Thank you for once again for for your valuable contribution.